Zen Master, we back. Let's go. It's your man Zen Master. As I said in my previous live here not long ago, I've been procrastinating about these lives, and I'm gonna try to get off my egotistical shit and just bring you the realness. All right, so whatever the office looks like, you see a roll of toilet paper behind me on my other desk. Beside my other desk, you see Coke bottles and shit. It's messy in here right now because I've been working and my dog got an ear infection. That's why the toilet paper's there, you dirty motherfuckers. I know y'all. But that's why the toilet paper's there, because my dog got an ear infection, not because I'm in here doing nasty man type stuff. Anyway, we're here to talk. Man, we're just here to talk today. I don't know how long I'm going to stream, but we're going to feature you, the chat, in this particular stream above all else. Salute to my man, Wilt Stumbling 45, longtime supporter, person I consider to be a friend. I hope everything's going well for you where you are, Wilt Stumbling. And we want to reserve space for the chat today completely. Restream, I think, does a pretty good job of keeping it clean, so we'll keep it up while we talk to you. I'm using my laptop camera for the first time to do a live, really. Usually I use my DSLR, but I got to clean that thing and get it right. But let's get into it. We're here to talk a little bit of politics, and then we're going to get into some NBA basketball as the season returns here and now. We had a game this morning. The Philadelphia 76ers played the New York Knicks over in Abu Dhabi in the Abu Dhabi games. We'll take a look at the scores from that. But first, we got to talk about Chicago yet again. And what we feared would come to fruition in Chicago has come to fruition in Chicago with one Donald J. Trump. Over the weekend and probably last night as well, I just haven't looked at news yet to really see what's going on. But over the weekend, Donald Trump sent ICE troops by Apache helicopter and armed vehicles to an apartment building in Chicago, which they raided from the bottom and the top by rappelling from said Apache helicopters. I'm a veteran. I spent 5 years in the United States Army. And to see this type of activity in the United States by any law enforcement, by any military force, to the degree where African American citizens, young babies are being taken out of their beds naked in the middle of the night, zip tied together, held and detained for 4 hours, and then people go on TV and excuse the shit. We're there now. We're at the point where Crystal Knock is happening. This is Crystal Knock. Look it up. In fact, we'll take a look at it together. I'm going to look up Crystal Knock. We'll see if we can find a YouTube video real quick that'll summarize it. But essentially, Crystal Knock was the night that the night of broken glass, the night that the Nazis began their reign of terror on Germany and on the Jews in Germany. And that is exactly what happened in Chicago. What we're seeing, I believe, is the beginning of Black America being turned into Palestine in the name of stopping violence. Now, they're saying, essentially, we got to go kill you so you can stop killing each other. We got to go imprison you and enslave you so you can stop killing each other. That's what they're saying to us in the media. But what this is really about is that extremely valuable real estate in the south side and west side of Chicago that people like Donald Trump would love to get their hands on and flip into condos for more rich white people and kick us, well, like I said, into those prisons and in those concentration camps, and it's happening right now. ICE claims to have arrested several gang members in this raid. And that's the excuse they're going to use to take away all of our freedoms and liberties. They'll start in the projects. They'll start with the hood. Eventually, they will be coming to your freaking house. Eventually, they will be going door by door to see if you're housing or hiding. Like, what's the guy, the whole movie, the big movie was about the guy in Germany who was hiding Nazis, hiding Jews in his basement. I can't remember the name. Schindler, Oscar Schindler was hiding Jews in his basement, and they would come to his house and try to sniff them out. That's going to happen here. Do you understand who you're dealing with, America? These are Nazis. This is the Fourth Reich. And your ineptitude, your apathy, your ineptitude as citizens has absolutely enabled the worst of the United States to rise to the top. I'm going to show a little bit of a video here that I don't think is too long. We're going to just watch the first couple of minutes and hopefully get a good summary. Actually, it's a 3 minutes video, so I think we'll do well to watch this video in its entirety about Kristallnacht, and we'll see how closely it relates to what's going on now. Let's share that clip together and we'll spin it.
On November 9th and 10th,
Hold up, folks. I don't think you're getting that audio. Let me make sure the audio is good for you. I don't want to have to play it through the microphone, which is probably what was going to happen here. So let me get it on the mic. Headphones. Okay, now we'll all hear it together. I apologize for the delay, but we should all hear it together now. And let's go full screen. I'll leave the closed captioning on for the hearing impaired out there. That last part ought to sound real familiar. Let's go back to that slide real quick here. Nazi leaders use Kristallnacht to advance their goal of making Jews leave Germany. That ought to sound extremely familiar, as we've had people like Stephen Miller talk about self-deportation. Tom Homan, Secretary of Homeland, talk about using such tactics to basically encourage people to self-deport. The same thing the Nazis did. They make your life hell. They terrorize you. They raid your homes. They throw shit all over the place. And we're going to look at the results of those raids in Chicago, what they did to black people's homes, black Americans' homes, and black Americans' kids. We're going to look at that. I'm as angry as I've ever been about anything in this motherfucking country, and you should be too. We are on the precipice of the next Holocaust. And everybody thinks it's fucking funny. It's not. Now you got to listen to people like me, the people you called crazy for years, who told you who these fucking people were. Now you got to listen to us because it's in your goddamn face. But guess what? Might be too late. They got all the goddamn weaponry. What they don't have is the American ethos. What they don't have is popular will. What they do have is a madman in charge. And we'll get to his ass in just a little bit. Let's spin this clip. Destroyed. Black folks, does that sound familiar to you? Does that sound familiar to you, black folks?
Kristallnacht was a significant step in the Nazi persecution of Jews, which ultimately culminated.
That like button. Make sure you share this video so the stream can grow today. I'm going to be here for a while. We got a lot to talk about. All right. Salute to Chemical Balance, who says, I see it. I feel like everyone else is seeing it too. But no one is taking it seriously. No, they're not going to take it seriously till they start seeing mass graves. And it's 2025. They're smart enough to hide stuff. There's a lot that's already been hidden. We can talk about the first Trump administration, all those kids that they separated from their families. Now, I don't know if you remember, but the Catholic Church sure did flock down to that border real quick to look after them boys. I mean, them kids, didn't they? Am I wrong? Now, along the same vein, you just had the president's spiritual advisor arrested for molesting a 12-year-old girl. And this MFer got 6 months and $250,000 fine for molesting a 12-year-old girl. Let it sink in as to what is going on here in America, folks. The parallels are definitely there. But let's talk about Gaza and how much Chicago is likely to resemble Gaza and Israel over the next few years, because that is exactly what's going to happen. U.S. forces, U.S. police, and the Israeli Defense Forces have been training together for years. Let's bring up a source while we're talking. Let's say U.S. forces, U.S. defense, and Israeli defense training together. They have a training agreement. Now, we have a training agreement with a lot of countries, right? I was in the military. I've trained. Matter of fact, I was trained by Australian Navy in my occupation. I was trained by like African Air Force in my occupation. I was trained by people from around the world, from people from other militaries, like I said, people from other branches. When you're doing certain positions in the military, my school was 9 months long. My AIT was 9 months long for those of you who served. I served as a satellite communications operator and maintainer. It was the second longest MOS school in the Army at the time. The only longer one was linguist, who went and studied Farsi and Arabic for 2 years out in California. They had to go be translators over in Iraq. So at the time, my series was the longest series in the Army, not related to linguists. So I got to train with a lot of high-ranking, experienced people from around the world, and I saw the diversity that the United States trains with. However, there's a special relationship between the IDF and the United States when it comes to this Judeo-Christian bullshit world that got us all living in. Now, I'm going to share with you my Google results. We'll do this live together. I don't want you to feel cheated or neglected. But you can see recent U.S.-Israeli joint military training. Joint aerial drill March of 2025. Transfer to CENTCOM 21, Juniper Oak 23, Juniper Falcon, ongoing series, Naval and Ground Forces, specialized medical training, joint weapons development, hand in hand, war reserve stockpile, intelligence sharing, joint weapons development. Let's ask about law enforcement. Law enforcement training. Let's ask specifically about that. And Gemini is doing a great job of answers at this point. How the U.S., this is an article by Al Jazeera 2020, how the U.S. and Israel exchange tactics in violence and control. This is exactly what we are talking about, people. This is exactly what we're talking about. Pardon me, I'll read. Following the killing of George Floyd, a U.S. riot police fired rubber-coated bullets, tear gas canisters, pepper spray, and stun gun grenades at protesters. Palestinians shared tips on social media on how best to deal with the assaults. Many in Palestinian territories are well experienced with such tactics by security forces while living under decades-long occupation by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank and besieged Gaza Strip. According to organizations Jewish Voice for Peace, the JVP, and researching the RAIA, the American-Israeli Alliance One common theme shared between the United States and Israel is the exchange of tactics and expertise in state violence, which has been ongoing for 18 years. And this was 2020. So make that 23 years. We all know Benjamin Netanyahu is running this country right now. We all know it via the Epstein files. We are seeing the Palestinianization of Black America right now. They are going to continue to up the violence, up the tactics until they're stopped, unless they're stopped. And I don't know how you stop it. Y'all think your AR-15s can stop this? They can't. It's only an invitation to more destruction. The second you start firing back on the south side of Chicago, now the Black Hawks are real. Now the Apaches are for real. Now the tanks, no more LMTVs, no more troop carriers. Now you got tanks coming in and they're going to shoot. Tanks don't come in to look pretty. They will blow up your whole fucking building before you have a chance to get to that AR-15. You'll be in a pile of rubble, gasping for your last breath. They will use drones. They will use planes. And they've already shown the willingness to do it with helicopters. Donald Trump is probably going to destroy this country if he's given the opportunity to continue to operate. This is the precursor. What we're seeing right now, these are the precursors to the genocide that's happening in Palestine. And I think it's pretty indisputable. I'll be honest with you. So let's take a look now at what happened in Chicago. Black Americans detained in Chicago ICE raid. I saw a woman in her 60s probably speaking about how she's never had a gun put in her face until that day. All right, 37 arrested on the South Shore. Salute to my people on the South Shore. We're going to try to find you a good black-based news source if we can here. But you see I'm on Google, so pardon me if we don't find anything specific. Here's ABC 7 Chicago. Don't trust ABC News. They're compromised. That is Sinclair. They will slant it towards Trump every time. Turn on your local ABC affiliate and you will see nothing but positive news about Donald Trump. I promise you. I've checked it out. Here's News Nation. Suspected Trende Araga. That's right-wing rag. Chicago Sun-Times. Relatively trustworthy. Let's take a look at Chicago Sun-Times. See what they had to say. Y'all know that silhouette. All right. It could be a black or Hispanic man, but this is Dan Jones. That's a black man. Dan Jones stands in his living room where his personal items can be seen scattered and mixed with strangers' belongings in the building where the federal immigrants raided and detained immigrants overnight at the operation of 7500 South Shore Drive. This is a black man's apartment on the south side of Chicago. His name is Dan Jones, not Danuela Jones, not Enrique Iglesias, not Vijay Subramaniam, not anything like that. Dan fucking Jones had to have this done to his house. He's got the slavest name I've ever heard a black man fucking have is Dan Jones. Like he never has to worry about being discriminated on job applications. And look what happened to his goddamn house just for being black. Look at the broken windows. Look at his personal property all over the fucking place. Why are you tossing this man's house like he's a goddamn criminal? Oh, we're going to get to Portland, too. Now they're really threatening to amp it up here because one of theirs got arrested. Not hurt, Not killed, arrested. So now they're going to lock down my city. They're going to be militant on my city because of this. Somebody got to stop this, y'all. Somebody got to stop it, and somebody got to stop it today. This motherfucker's crazy. He is absolutely crazy. Look at this. Look at this shit. How is this necessary? What threat are these people posing to us in America? Is it worth it? Is it worth having black children handcuffed naked in the street in the middle of the night in motherfucking October in Chicago? No, it's not worth it. And shame on anybody who says it is. These fuckers will go on the news and they'll excuse this shit away. And they're disgusting. And they wonder why we react like we react to Charlie Kirk. You're disgusting. You're behaving like Nazis. You are Nazis. It's just what it is. I want everybody to see the Chicago woman. This sister who had herself put in handcuffs for the first time in her life and had freaking a gun put in her face for the first time in her life. And look at this shit. I mean, all hell's breaking loose. I'm going to try to be more specific in my search and see if we can pull a better result. Black woman. I don't know how widely distributed that video is at this point. Let's take a look at CNN, Gabby Phillips. I'm pretty sure they showed it here.
The body scanner reveals the brutal truth
and we'll
about
skip
your
this
body
ad. Usually I use my other account for
weeks, my
show
scale
and
showed
tell.
I wasn't losing.
Donald Trump wanted American cities to be training grounds, and ICE listened. In Chicago,
Salute
in the
to
middle
Abby,
of
by the
night,
way. She does a
federal agents
fantastic
stormed
show.
an apartment building.
Probably the
Black
only
Hawk
thing worth watching on
helicopters,
CNN.
Flashbangs, military-style trucks, all used in the
Let's
raid.
get to the lady
And witnesses
that I
say
want y'all to
everyone
hear,
was
man.
detained, no matter their status. Children were zip-tied together, separated from their
And salute to
parents.
Van Lathan.
And the feds say that they arrested dozens of gang members. Also in the city, Charlie Kirk's group was given a front row seat to a raid inside a Walmart.
Ain't that a bitch?
Amazing. Secretary Nome was here. They rolled up a couple of
Oh, this
guys,
dude, Benny Johnson, by the way.
and
This dude, Benny Johnson, just got outed as being gay. He's a self-hating homosexual out there trying to fuck over people. Let's roll it.
it's rowdy. There's a lot of people around.
Look at him
Everyone's
smiling
filming.
like it's a game.
Secretary of Homeland Security is right now doing raids at Walmart.
Raids at Walmart, y'all.
So, as forewarned, I mean, we have a situation in which American cities are at the center of this ICE crackdown, and there's indiscriminate use of force against Americans, non-Americans, people here legally, people here illegally.
I'm gonna give you a heads up. This is a fire panel. You got Van Lathan and Ashley Allison. Ashley Allison is smart, beautiful. If you're out there watching Ashley, holla at your boy. I really like you.
And on the right, nobody seems to care. In fact, they love it.
I saw a video from a local station in Chicago, and
I mean, like you,
residents
like you.
of a community
Know what
there
I'm
were
saying?
describing an ICE raid and like what they saw.
Right.
Two things struck me. One, they were talking about things that happened to them. They were talking about how they were treated in this ICE raid. These are the people that, I guess, by virtue of being born here in America, are entitled to being treated like human beings. The second thing is that they were all black.
Salute to the
And I'm
chat.
gonna
I
say
see y'all out
something.
there.
We saw this coming. We knew the neighborhoods where these ICE raids would take place. We knew that a lot of these things wouldn't happen in Beverly Hills
Right.
or in Coconut Grove
Right.
or any of those places like that. We knew that there would be collateral damage, that there would be trauma that would be inflicted on our communities. We knew that people would be detained, scared. We knew that children would have to see things that they shouldn't have to see. And all of this for political theater so that we look tough on immigration for everyone. It's a horror show. And I do think if it hasn't already happened, that it'll be something that even the most conservative of Americans will get tired of seeing human beings
No, they
treated this
won't.
way. At least that's my hope.
No, they won't.
The one neighbor said the kids were crying.
They will not. They are on their anti-genocide, not anti, pro-genocide bent. It seems to me, and I will confess, I'm a firm believer in Crest Theory by Francis Cress Wilson, but it seems to me that because white people have to maintain a certain standard of genetic purity to exist, that they require violent segregation to maintain their quote-unquote race, which I don't believe in race. I believe in racism because I see how much it gets practiced on me, but the actual concept of race is garbage. So when you hear me calling people Neanderthals or joking about how much Neanderthal DNA they must have, just know I don't really believe that, but I know it fucks with white people to tell them they're Neanderthals because they know that they got more Neanderthal DNA than we do. It's insignificant. But I sorted my 23andMe ancestry by DNA, by Neanderthal DNA. And all of my black relatives had way less than all of my white relatives. Every last one of them. So to challenge our humanity when you are literally DNA-wise less Homo sapien than I is fucking ridiculous. But we get it every day. And we're not the ones perpetrating the fraud and telling you you're inferior because of your genetic inferiority. Quite frankly, you don't have the ability to go out in the hot sun and pick crops for yourself. So you had to enslave Africans to do it. There's a lot you can't do for yourself that you have to subjugate darker people for because you don't have the ability. And you cloak it in intelligence. And you spend your time and all your money on warfare and weaponry and domination over the rest of us. And this is the world we've been living in for 2,000 years. And it's time for it to come crashing down. Let's spin the clip while we look for the reaction from the lady in Chicago. I'll let y'all check out what Abby's show had to say. I mean, Van Lathan again, fantastic. Ashley Allison, fantastic. If you're not following those folks on social media, Higher Learning Podcast, Ashley Allison's out there independent. Pick them up. Pick them up. Pick them up. Let's roll.
Crying. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they were bringing kids down too, had them zip tied to each other, saying that there were trucks, military-style vans used to separate adults from kids. What's going on?
I haven't seen any of this, so I certainly am not aware of particular neighborhoods that are targeted. Obviously, I support them finding and arresting people who are here illegally.
I'm going to pause this one, folks. I think we got a good report from Chris Hayes that'll probably be more appropriate to this situation from MSNBC. Let's go ahead and run this clip from Chris Hayes. It's 6 minutes and 29
the
seconds.
opposite of any work platform we tried in the past.
As soon as this
we tried other work management
ad goes
platforms, not naming names. They all suck.
We're getting new reports about a chilling and downright shocking escalation of ICE tactics against the residents of Chicago.
They would not treat white people this way. They would not treat white Americans this way,
federal agents
ever.
and police, backed up by riot trucks, smoke grenades, and helicopters, breached fences and busted doors in an immigration raid on an entire apartment building on the city's
Notice
south
the
side.
rental car
They pulled
vans.
dozens of residents from their homes and zip ties, including.
Hey, notice the rental car vans. Budget Hertz rental car vans. Proud Boys been drilling in those damn vans for years. The Proud Boys are ICE. This is Donald Trump's paramilitary. We're fucked. Only the National Guard and only the actual U.S. military could combat this $150 billion force that Donald Trump bought to protect himself. We are fucked. Next.
children, some of them without any clothes. They then held some outside for hours and dragged the others into rented vans.
It was scary because
There she
I've
is.
never had a gun put in my face.
Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
They zip tied the kids together. ICE put out.
See, as far as I'm concerned, y'all, I mean, that's exactly what I wanted y'all to see. As far as I'm concerned, that's my family. You did that too. That's my family. You don't get to do that to my family and think that we're going to sit around and wait for it to continue to happen. You don't. I don't know what the solution is. I don't. I really don't, because we're dealing with a paramilitary force unlike anything we've ever seen. This was all unleashed by the Patriot Act, by the way. 9/11. This is Osama bin Laden's revenge on the United States of America. One punch to the jaw, and we gave away our liberties in the name of security. And right now, we're even in a more willing position to give away even more liberties in the name of more perceived security, which none of us are actually getting. Because you can't go to a mall or a movie theater or an airport or anywhere without worrying about if some fool was going to come in there and kill everyone. Nightclubs, churches, synagogues. Where has it not happened? Middle schools, elementary schools. Surprised we haven't had a pre-K hit or a NICU unit at the hospital. I'm surprised. I'm watching the movie Idiocracy. I've watched it, I should say, and it is scarily on point for where we seem to be headed. But what happened in Chicago with ICE, and what is going to continue to happen in Chicago with ICE, is re-enslavement. The ghettos of Chicago and anywhere near the ghettos in the United States, if you have a warrant for your arrest, they're coming for you. If you're a black man in this country, your slate with the government better be A+. Your taxes, you better not have an outstanding warrant for tickets, nothing. Nothing. Because you will find yourself detained by ICE and thrown in prison. Because that's where they want us. I'm a 53-year-old veteran. I shouldn't have to worry about the military detaining me and throwing me in prison. Come on, that's the country we are. I'm going to say it real loud and real proud. Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, fuck Donald Trump. I'm going to say it real loud. This guy got to go, man. It's him or us. It's him or us. I don't care how the fuck he gets put out of office. I don't care who replaces him, as long as it's somebody sane. But I think we're in a position at this point that the Republicans never intend to share power in this country ever again. And if Donald Trump dies today and they put J.D. Vance in his place, that agenda does not change at all. The Republicans are playing for keeps right now. Their failure and our saving grace is the fact that they're riding the back of an absolute abject idiot who looks like he's dying. Let's hope. And I know I'm not supposed to say that. All this political correctness about wishing people dead, it's bullshit. There ain't a one of you out there who hasn't seen somebody's death notification and said, glad that motherfucker's out of here. And you didn't care how it happened. Not one of you. Especially if they insult you every opportunity they get. You're not sad. Are you out there wishing for something to happen to them? Not necessarily. But part of me wishes all racists death. At least death to your ideology. It does you no good. It does us no good. All it does is divide us. Same as religion. I hate to say it, but religion only serves to divide humanity. It never unites. Never. Not to head down that road. We got a lot more to talk about. Let's talk about Donald Trump himself, who I believe is absolutely batshit crazy and able to live out his Nazi fantasies, his wettest white dreams, in living color on his way off this planet. This is the most dangerous combination of human being I have ever seen have power in the United States. He is crazy. He's racist. He's a sexual assault perpetrator. He lies every time he opens his mouth. He's pro-violence, pro-war, declaring an insurrection so he could violate our civil rights. He's doing all this while losing his grip on reality, but needing to hold on to power tighter than ever, and having less accountability for his actions ever. Donald Trump will never, ever, ever be held accountable in his life. And that's been the story of his life. The story of a lot of white men's lives. Donald Trump has never been held accountable for violating contracts. He's only been held accountable monetarily at times for like the civil rights stuff. But in terms of him actually being held accountable, no. And even when he is, take New York, for example, who seized his assets or declared he couldn't do business in New York. He just turned around and won the presidency back. All that went away. Now Alvin Bragg has to worry about going to jail. A black man who was doing the right thing. Letitia James in New York has to worry about going to jail. A black woman who was doing the right thing. Fonnie Lewis has to worry about going to jail. A black woman in Georgia who was trying to do the right thing. A lot of black folks are in his targets. All of us are in his targets right now. All of us. But these people in particular are going to be prosecuted for nothing. They tried to dig up mortgage fraud on a Fed officer so that they could fire her. Digging up mortgage fraud, which she had none, and they had to dismiss. But this is the type of stuff that this administration is doing. Now they have the government shutdown that they wanted, and Donald Trump is all in on Project Fascist 2025 now. It's all out his mouth now. So the shutdown now gives the Office of Management of Budget control over the purse strings of the executive branch completely without congressional oversight, which allows Russ Vought to cut entire departments, lay off and fire as many workers as he chooses, which will likely result in more black women losing their jobs, more black men losing their jobs. 300,000 black women lost their jobs under Doge cuts. And now they're talking about cutting hundreds and thousands of more jobs from the federal government. Now, I haven't heard anything about a tax break for me and you. I heard something about a $2,000 little cash kickback. You cutting all this stuff, man, give me my money back. But they're not going to do that for you and I. They did that for themselves, but they won't do that for you and I. Donald Trump has tapped into America's worst impulses because he embodies them. He absolutely embodies the impulses of America's slave masters. He's tried to reinstate triangular trade. Literally, the slave trade is kind of back as he's abducting people from the streets of America and sending them to Sudan to work for nothing in a concentration camp, in El Salvador to work for nothing in a concentration camp. Sounds like slave trade to me. Sounds like human trafficking to me. No one of good conscience could sit by and absorb this. Don't let it become normal to you. Don't let it become normal to your family. Don't let them frighten you. Don't let them scare you. This noisy ass neighborhood. Don't let them intimidate you. Donald Trump is deeply unpopular in this country as we speak. And he will never come out of it because he's an idiot. So the only thing that he can do is brutalize the rest of us and put on a show. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Before we go, we're gonna lighten the topic up, get up off the politics for a minute, because that's a lot. But like I said, I'm gonna just hop on camera and do this more often, man. I've been procrastinating like crazy about doing lives and everything. I'm a perfectionist, y'all. Everything got to be perfect, and I got to be X, Y. I'm just going to get over that bullshit, get up here with my missing teeth, whatever. If you want to crack jokes in the comments, go for it. I don't care. Pretty soon I'll have a full set replacement, and there won't be no more jokes. Y'all can Dame Dash me if you want. All right? The NBA's back. The NBA's back, which is, like, for me, you know, the return of crack. for a crackhead, it's like the heyday of crack is back. Man, I'm a junkie. I can't help it. I like football, right? I grew up a Steelers fan in Steeler country, deep. All of my friends are Steelers fans. All of my family Steelers fans. It's black and gold central. So I grew up loving the Steelers. When I was a teenager, I started liking basketball, and then Michael Jordan came, and I started loving basketball. And I've been in love with hoops ever since. To the point now I understand I like football. And I love my Steelers. But I love basketball in general. I'm starting to watch the WNBA now. I'm starting to watch all kind of hoops. Like, for real, for real. Shout out to Asia Wilson and the Aces, who won game 1 of the WNBA final last night. But let's talk about what's going to happen this year, what we expect to happen this year. Will Stumbling says he put a bet, Boston at 50 wins plus, Charlotte at 30 wins plus, and Utah at 35 wins plus. We're going to hold that right there for just a minute, and we'll start with the Eastern Conference and expectations. Now, the Eastern Conference is missing its anchor. That is I was thinking about this morning before we started, right? I thought about it. And all the doubt and all the hate that Jason Tatum gets, look how everybody else in the Eastern Conference is like, whew, right now. They're happy Jason Tatum is out, which, by the way, he's playing basketball again. He might be back before the finals, before the playoffs. He might be back. But they're happy Jason Tatum's out. New York is happy. Cleveland's happy. Orlando's happy. Detroit is happy because now they think they got a chance. They're also happy Tyrese Halliburton is out. You take him off the Indiana Pacers, they're the Toronto Raptors. Literally, that's who they are. Another underappreciated favorite of mine. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, my two favorite players in the NBA right now. Not named Dame Dollar. Dame Dollar's always going to be special to my heart. But those two, I pay to watch any day of the week. Amongst others, right? You would pay to watch Ja Morant because Ja Morant's Showtime. He's a loser, but he's Showtime. I'm going to watch that shit. All right? He's going to lose, but watch it. So let's talk about the East. I mentioned the 4 teams that I thought would compete in the East. We're talking about New York, Boston, of course, Cleveland. Indiana's still going to compete. Wisconsin is going to be there, so we'll extend to Wisconsin and we'll give Philadelphia a little bit of grace. We'll say Philadelphia may come in 6 should Joel Embiid actually play basketball. But I think the underdog here that everyone needs to pay attention to most is Detroit. Them boys are ready. They're ready. And Jaden Ivey is coming back. They didn't have Jaden Ivey last year, and they were difficult. They were damn difficult to beat. With Jaden Ivey full-time at the point, Cade sliding back off to the wing, they're going to be a big problem in the Eastern Conference. I don't see people bullying them around. I think New York is slightly better. I think they'll be able to hang with Cleveland. They'll be able to hang with Boston. Again, depending upon Embiid, they'll be able to hang with Philly. And, of course, they should be able to hang with Indiana. I think that's pretty much how the East is going to shake up. But if I'm going to go 1 through 6, I got to take the Knicks right now. I think the Knicks' star power between Brunson and Cat is tremendous. Miles Bridges, the Iron Man, his defense is tremendous. OG Anunoby, also a tremendous defender, two-way player, out of his mind, great. The Knicks starting 5 is solid. And they finally have a coach in Mike Brown, I think, who can maybe orchestrate them into a little bit better discipline. The problem with Mike Brown is that he's such an egghead. He's such a by the numbers, designed to play X's and O's guy that he loses people with his intelligence. He goes too far sometimes with being a brainiac. So Mike Brown will get you to the next level, maybe even get you to a championship, but he's not going to be around for long. He wears out on people. That's what I've noticed about Mike Brown. He can't stay anywhere for long. And yeah, there's an NBA coaching carousel, but Mike Brown is the first one off it. The first one off it. So yeah, I think they'll be better this year, especially given good health, which they had some problems. Darius Garland's toe inhibited him from playing well, and then Donovan Mitchell got hurt. It just wasn't a good finals run for the Cavaliers, but I do expect them to bounce back and be formidable. If Evan Mobley steps up even more, becomes even more dominant, maybe added some muscle and got stronger, man, that Cleveland team, you give me Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, I don't care who the fourth person is. Don't matter. Just somebody who can rebound, play D, and hit a 3 from the corner. And they got that. They got that in spades. So I see the Cavaliers and the Knicks probably as the top 2 teams this year. I think the Celtics will fall short because missing their alpha. People are about to see how good Jaylen Brown is and is not, because Jaylen Brown relies on Jason Tatum being double covered quite a bit, and Jason Tatum absorbing a lot of attention that is not going to be absorbed by Anthony Simons. Also, the defensive presence of Jason Tatum can't be underestimated, and Anthony Simons is definitely not going to help you in that department, right? So I don't think Boston is the number 3 team. I think they're probably Wilt Sumberland saying 50 wins. I don't know if they're going to be that high. I say 45 to 47. They're going to be a bubble team, playing for the play-in, probably an 8th seed, somewhere around there. I think Boston, well, we'll put them at 6. I said they were probably a 6. We'll put them at 6 seed for Boston. But Cleveland, New York, Detroit, I would put right behind Cleveland and New York. Honestly, I think they're ready to take the next step. I like what I see out of that franchise. Trajan Langdon, I had a chance to meet him last season down at the Moda and have a chance to talk with him. He's a real nice guy. But he's about his business, and he's really built this Detroit team into something that's going to be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to watching them at 4 o'clock because I'm on the West Coast. So the games all start here at 4 as I'm wrapping up my work day at 4:30. I get a chance to turn it on, watch the game. I'll catch the Eastern Conference as much as I catch the Western Conference, sometimes more, which is how I got into Indiana. But this year, I'm going to focus on Detroit, on the East primarily. My man Wilt mentioned Charlotte. You got to force me to. They got to be here in Portland for me to watch the Hornets at this point. I'll be honest. They got to be here and at the Moda. But I've already seen LaMelo. I ain't paying to see LaMelo again, so I doubt if I would go see the Hornets again at this point. We mentioned the Cavaliers, the Knicks, the Pistons. Washington might make its presence felt a little bit. Bilal Coulibaly, Bilal Coulibaly is a exciting young player, a 6'8" point guard deluxe who really turned it on last year. But it's DC. They're going to do what DC does. Low expectations. Miami will probably eke in and be your 5th pick, your 5th slot, just because of the Miami system and no other reason. And for me, that leaves the Milwaukee Bucks to be likely your 4th. So I would say Knicks, Cavaliers, Pistons, Bucks, Sixers at 5, and then Miami at 6. That's what I would say, how I would say the East is going to shake out this year. And, oh, man, thanks for bringing up Orlando. Well, I should have considered Orlando. I don't know. I don't know about them. I don't know if they can be the 6th seed this year. We'll see. I'm going to leave my list where it is. I think Orlando takes a dip down this year. I don't think they got better. I think other teams did besides Boston and Indiana. But Boston and Indiana are elite teams that are going to be good teams even without their star players. Moving on to the Western Conference. Right here in Portland, I think we're going to be a big surprise for everybody. Big surprise, especially if Hansen Young or Young Hansen turns out to be what we think he's going to be and if he does it early. But here is a young man from China, 21 years old, that everyone in the city is falling in love with. Big personality, big smiles, learning English really fast, celebrates on the court, doesn't act like a robot. He, like Yao Ming used to act like a robot. This kid acts like one of us. He looks free. He looks happy. And Portland is so happy to have him. His jersey is the #1 selling jersey in the franchise, and he hasn't played a game for Portland yet. Now, what we saw in Summer League out of Hansen Young was spectacular. All right. The stuff that we saw him do in China was showing up in Summer League. Young, they call the Chinese Jokic. He's 7'1". He has the passing ability. He has the scoring ability. And at 20, he was the Chinese CBA Defensive Player of the Year. So he has the defensive mentality to go out there and play. And then we have Donovan Clingan, 7'2", 260, 70 pounds right now, they're saying. He's down some. Extreme rim protector. Probably one of the top 5 rim protectors in the NBA. Good luck driving in the lane on the Trailblazers with those two guys, whether they're on the court together or not. We have some dead weight we need to get rid of. Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams III. Once those guys are gone, Portland's roster will look even more healthier. They just need to add some offense. I would expect Jeremy Grant to be gone at midseason. Robert Williams, we might just have to eat that contract, but he's relatively inexpensive. But Jeremy Grant can get us a couple shooters, and that's all this team needs to move forward. Denny Avia is ready for the All-Star team. Tamani Kamara, ready for the All-Star team. Shaden, ready for the next step. definitely not all-star level, but ready for the next step. And Scoot, once he gets past this current injury, I think Scoot's going to be just fine this season and earn his way past Drew Holiday at some point. But it sure is a luxury having Drew Holiday. I'm going to say the Blazers shock the Western Conference and land at number 8 on 45 or better wins. Now, let's start at the top of the chain and stop being a homer. Of course, we have the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, in our conference, and they should be favored to win the conference again. They've made no significant roster deductions that would have you believe otherwise. So that's a pretty easy one to go ahead and favor them. Next up, we're going to go ahead and say the Dallas Mavericks with Anthony Davis healthy. This team has a roster with Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington, that can compete for a championship now. And this was what was achieved in the Luka Doncic trade, thinking more short term while the Lakers were thinking more long term, right? So, Mavericks, Thunder, so far 1 and 2, or Thunder Mavericks. After that, I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets, number 3. Ime Udoka's team is fired up, and they got Kevin Durant now. So Kevin Durant's presence will make up for what Jalen Green lacked. Jalen Green, now being in Phoenix, was a sometimey streaky shooter, sometimey streaky offensive player. Kevin Durant is none of those things. Kevin Durant is a certified killer on that court, as we all know. I think he's going to do well out in Houston, playing alongside Asar Thompson, probably the best defender in the NBA, not named Draymond Green. Fred VanVleet, who's injured right now, is a good point guard, a good distributor, not a ball hog. And Alperen Sengun, emerging to be one of the most dominant centers in the NBA. They're in great shape out in Houston. The only question I have for Houston is at 2 guard. And I don't know who their 2 guard is right now, which is bad news. Let me see. Houston Rockets roster. Hopefully they got picked up a good 2 guard. But the fact that I don't know who it is. Let's see. Dang. They don't play with a shooting guard starting. Josh Okogie is their shooting guard, but I don't think Josh starts. So I think they play 2 small forwards with Tari Eason basically being a de facto shooting guard. Yeah, Tari and Amen are basically the de facto shooting guards. They don't have any SGs on the roster. That's interesting. Aaron Holiday and Kevon Harris are listed as guard, but no SGs. So, 1 through 3 in the Western Conference. Thunder, Mavericks, Rockets. You got to go with Jokic and the Nuggets, number 4 after that. Let's go with the Golden State Warriors, number 5 after that. I'm going to go with the San Antonio Spurs, number 6 after that. Healthy Victor Wembanyama, reinforced, got assets now, got weapons now. They're going to be a problem. 6th or 7th at the worst for San Antonio. Elsewise, in the East, the Clippers are going to clip. We all know what the Clippers are going to do, right? So it doesn't matter. They'll probably be the 5th seed. And then Kawhi will Kawhi, and the Clippers will clip, and that'll be that. The Lakers are always interesting, but LeBron's been playing for 40 years now, and his Social Security is about to kick in. So I don't expect the Lakers to be very good. He was a net negative last season. I think LeBron will probably suffer his first catastrophic injury this season, and his career will likely come crashing down and be over because you can't do this forever. It's a big load. 265, 70 pounds for 24 seasons is a big load. But hats off to him so far. He's been able to pull it off. But I think that this is going to be a bad year for the Lakers because of that, despite Luka Doncic's improved fitness and, the roster improvements that they made in L.A. Sacramento Kings are lost in the sauce, y'all. You can forget them. The Suns, forget them. Lost in the sauce. Absolutely done. The Memphis Grizzlies, forget them. Don't take them seriously. Not for 2 seconds. Not for 2 seconds should you take the Grizzlies. And the Utah Jazz, Jazz going Jazz, right? You know what to expect out of the Utah Jazz, which is nothing. And that's the Western Conference. As I see it, Minnesota will make themselves felt. I don't know what to expect out of them this year. I honestly don't. But they'll make the top 8. No doubt they'll be in the top 8. Anthony Edwards is coming along really, really well as a player. He's one of the most enjoyable players to watch, one of the best personalities. I just need him to stop doing the Tyreek Hill thing and making babies all over the place. Stop it. All right, stop it. Anyway, that's been our show, folks. It's been fun, but I am parched. I need to probably start doing this with some drinks or something to help, keep my vocals wet and keep the mood moving. But like I said, I'm just going to start popping on the mic. Low effort style, a thumbnail, your boy, the chat room. We're just going to start doing it, folks. I've been procrastinating and been a perfectionist too long. All right. We are all embarrassed about certain things. We are all humbled by certain things. My dental health is poor. I'm not proud of it at all. In fact, I'm embarrassed by it. But I'm not so embarrassed that I can't be humble in front of you and tell you that this is what's been holding me back. And I'm not going to let it hold me back anymore. And I am getting the work that I need done. But y'all know the process, man. My dentist won't even give me a partial. Like, they're taking forever to get this shit done. So it's just a personal struggle, But that's life. If you're lucky enough to live it, and if you're lucky enough to be here for 53 years like I am, you're probably going to miss a tooth or 3. All right? Just wanted to thank you for your time. Thank you for hitting that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the hype button, notification bell. Don't miss a thing here on Pass the Joint Podcast. I'm your host, Zen Master, saluting the game gang. And we'll see you on the next go round. Peace as always.